Hallå, hallå. Men sorry. Ah. Förlåt, jag har försökt prata. Installationen måste slutföras eller visa redo att starta innan du kan starta. Vad är det nu? Aha. Jag pratade med dig innan, Niklas, jag är hemskt ledsen att du inte hörde. För tydligen så var jag mutad. Sorry. Fire på den. Jag satt inte helt tyst. Satt och pratade genom mina svängar, min taktik. Vad ska vi få storyn? Kan det vara XP? Ja, vad kul! Vi får uppdatera, vad fan. Jag kan inte lyssna på detta, vi får lyssna på detta. Tour Life. Okej, vi ska lyssna på Tour Life. Inte Tour Lives, utan Tour Life. Five scores, 3 kills, 2-stick amp, sniper rifle. Okej. Då gör vi en sniper rifle klass. Down.
How we doing, everybody? Welcome back to Tour Life tonight.
We got lite snabbare. Vänta, har vi någon som inte är fyllad? SvD. Ja, man. Vi gör den färdig först.
Pro Tour Creators Challenge, Julie. A little early smack talk potential. Cascade Challenge is coming.
En liten mindre wheelies där.
Gary's back with King of the Hill, and we'll see how that's going. But before we get into that, how's it going, bro?
Going good, man. I made it to Washington last night. Brought the whole family. Got Raina, got Sarah here.
Family trip.
Absolute nightmare of a trip. Not gonna lie. Absolute humdinger of a trip.
Not a good plane flight.
Oh man, we left early. Torrential downpour. Have to park the car. Torrential downpour. Bus sees us. It's only us. Goes right past us. Doesn't even see us. So we have to wait for the next one. So we're kind of in a rush the whole time. Get on the plane. First time Raina just wasn't having it.
No.
Just kind of, yeah, she wasn't having it. So she was a little fussy the whole time. Oh, just so you know, 5-hour flight. Not a big deal. 5.5-hour flight. Get done. Get off the plane the same exact time as a cruise ship. Like a whole entire people who went on a cruise get off. And so baggage claims are wrecked. Go to get a rental car. The line for the rental car bus is from the bus stop all the way back into the baggage claim. So hundreds of people. So I have to wait in line with that.
I still don't
It was-
understand how rental cars take that long. Like it
No,
should
this was just to
take
get
that
on
long,
the
Acoustic
right?
bus.
amp.
This was
Oh.
just to get on the bus to get
For
to
the
the
rental
car.
cars. Oh
Yes.
my gosh. You flew
So
into
we-
Seattle?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I end up like just staying in line because we have so much baggage. You know what I mean? Traveling with a little one, like you got all this stuff that you accumulate,
Yeah.
a bunch of bags. So I have to go get the rental car, get it, come back, hit rush
So?
hour to Shelton.
Oh god.
So it's like hour and 20 minutes from Seattle. Oh wait, how about 2 hours and 40 minutes? But we got here and played the practice round this morning with Gomez, which was really cool. We had a giveaway, an auction for the Paul McBeth Foundation, and these guys won a round with us to play doubles with Germany, and that was really fun. And then, yeah, I just got back a little bit ago, and that's been the gist.
Jeez, yeah. Sounds like sounds traveling with the little one. I can only imagine. I always feel so bad when someone's having, especially when they're super young. I think at a certain age, it kind of shows more on the parenting side. But when they're super young, if they just want to let it go, there's nothing
Yeah.
you can do. And I always feel so bad. I always feel
Oh,
so
yeah.
bad because everyone's like, oh my god, this baby
Well,
won't.
Battlepass dubbel-XP. Ja, kör vi.
I told Sarah, I'm like,
Hur mycket har vi
either
kvar
we
där?
have, like,
Oj,
the
vad är
best
detta för
kid
något?
ever, or people are very kind. Because afterwards they're like, your baby did so good. Wow, thank
No,
you,
you have a
and
good
all this stuff.
baby.
And I'm
People
like,
don't-
and
I don't
was
do
like,
that to a bad baby. That's a good
I-
baby.
I was like, oh wait, I thought that this was a nightmare for everybody. You know what I mean? But no, it's a new experience. I got a total new outlook on. Whenever I see somebody with a baby, I'm like, oh, I get it. Like, you
Yeah.
have that empathy. But
For
it sounds
sure.
like you had that already.
Yeah, no, I always feel terrible for people because
Yeah.
you just know there's nothing.
I mean, it's a baby. It's crying because, like, hey, guess what? Their left arm's growing a little faster than the right one or something. It's a new feeling, You just have no clue.
Great metabolism. So my goal is officially out to the world, or at least to my subscribers on YouTube. I want to first say thanks to everyone that watched the video. I appreciate you all. I haven't posted anything, I think, in over 10 months. It's not great for the YouTube algorithm. They normally don't like that. So all you guys.
Ja men skjuter som en husse. Det ska vi lösa.
I didn't really know what the response would be. Quite frankly, if 5 people or 100 people are, I was going to continue to kind of do this journey of trying to qualify for USDGC regardless. But
Right.
there was a bunch of you guys that watched it, a bunch of you that saw it. If you haven't, go over and check it out. It's on my YouTube channel. All the stuff that I did in the podcast, you heard it. But the goal has been set. USDGC or bust. If we can get in before the Monday qualifier at USDGC, if we don't, then I will be going to Rock Hill to try to qualify. Qualifier sign-up?
You gotta be exactly the big drop because I heard
Really? Oh, yeah, I guess they have a limited amount So we'll be able to set that more videos coming. And before we get into tonight's episode, we have a word.
Show is sponsored by Prize. Cash in on the basketball playoffs with Prize Picks. Don't miss your last chance to add to your Prize Picks lineup. Whether it's points, rebounds, assists, take your pick.
På den här.
2,000x your cash today. Prize Picks also offers weekly payouts on Tuesday. Prize Picks discounts select players projections up to 25% to provide even more.
Det kommer snart igång. Kommer snart igång. Det här var en question of time. Ja men what the fuck. Jag tänker inte ge mig. Jag ska snipas till det kommer igång.
Got a big game tonight, and I'm thinking Jokic is going to have a big game tonight. South here Moore also the Aaron Gordon 1.5. Just getting 2 of them. And I like Moore 31.5 SGA points. I think you gotta go power play here. All in 350 to win 1750. Download the app today and use the code TOURLIFE to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code TOURLIFE to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game.
I was planning on going to bed tonight after the pod because
But you gotta watch your bet.
I actually have to. I gotta stay up to watch this game now. Yeah, we had a big day today. Shout out to my wife real quick, everyone in the chat. Shout out to Janice.
Get some hands in the clap.
Running
in the chat.
fastest she's ever run in her life. Confirmed today, this morning.
Speed.
She's never ran this fast ever. We were running sub 8-minute miles this morning. And yeah, big shout out there, because if any of you guys know, like, the mental running, like, your head wants to tell you, what are you doing? Stop.
Yes,
You can't
stop
do this.
it.
Just start walking. Oh, this is so hard. Just start walking. And she was able to make it happen. And very, very proud of her. So we are on, that's another goal, sub 25-minute 5K. That is hopefully in the future for us. But enough about running. Let's get to disc golf. We got the Cascade Challenge.
Yeah, we do.
This weekend, May 16th through the 18th in Shelton, Washington. Defending champs, Deanne Carey and Nicholas Antilla. I'm pretty sure last year, if I remember, it was a very, very limited FPO field and even a limited MPO field, because I believe it was a Q series event. And this year, Yuli, it's not very limited. We got a lot of the big names there. A lot of the big names. On the FPO side, the only name that I'm jumping out, well, a couple names. It doesn't look like that many of the Europeans are going to be over there. No Kristen, no Evelina. You do have Holland, Missy, Owen, Kat Merch, Ella, Paige, who played really well. All kind of up there. So the FPO side should be pretty exciting, unless someone runs away with it. But MPO, we got some big name guys too. Gannon's there, Ricky, Isaac, Paul, Nicholas, Ezra, Kyle, AB, Adam, Austin Turner, Simon, Marweed, Proctor, Goose, Eagle, Buckets, Fresnel's there, you're there, Cole Radalin, Benjamin Callaway, Ezra. So it does look like almost a pretty much full field, aside from the Europeans. That's really the only players I don't see there.
And I believe Rock's Challenge pulled a couple of players, so like Calvin, gone.
Yeah,
I think that's the only one that I can think of, and a few other probably.
Double G, I think I was actually just talking to him. He's gonna play Las Vegas Challenge as well.
Yeah. So there's a couple, but no, full field. And I'll tell you this, man. I go to the course yesterday, got in late, went in for a late round. I got a pick for us, and I'm sticking with the pick. I'll wait till the next segment.
Okay.
Or whenever the segment comes.
You're feeling good?
I'm feeling this one.
I love that course. I don't know how much they changed since I've been there, but there was a handful of holes where I was like, wow, this is a really well designed hole. So I was a big fan of that course when I went out there. Also really nice. It's a really nice property. I'm assuming it's the same spot.
Place. Yeah,
really, really nice property. One of those where it's like you do have a couple busy roads right around it, but aside from maybe one or two holes, it feels like you're kind of
you're in there.
Alone in the woods.
Yeah.
It's really, really nice. So that will be going down this weekend, guys. So make sure you tune in to Disc Golf Network live to see all that action taking place starting this Friday. 3-day tournament. And Yuli already kind of got us segued up here. We're going into pick'em, folks. Big week for us. We got a nice little lead.
Yeah.
Still over the Grip Lock boys, which is nice, but we need to extend it. Where are we at right now? We're at 181. They're at 147. Okay, so we got a solid lead, but we need some extension So let's make sure we don't pick anyone that's not there. That's like
Yeah,
rule
it's
number
huge.
one. But who's your pick? Who are you feeling?
I want to go O.
Oh, is it like a short little technical course potential?
It's wooded and a lot of sidearms, and here's why. I get to the course yesterday. They changed hole 1, and hole 1's now a practice basket, and I see O. That's right, just bang. And I'm watching, and it's like 40-footer, 40-footer. I'm telling you, I watch her make 7 40-footers in a row, walking around. Then she gets to this spot where there's trees in the way, 40-footer, Annie around it, bang. I'm like, wow, she's right. Then I get there 9 a.m. this morning. Guess who's on the putting green? Grinding putts. I don't think she left. She's in the same spot, grinding putts. I'm sorry, but I can't let that slide. I can't. If I'm hoping she, went and got some dinner, got a good night's sleep, and woke up. I got there at 8:30.
All right.
Putts at 8:30, so she might have been up all day. She might have been a 24-hour practice session.
Well, she hasn't been in the mix in the last several tournaments, really.
Yeah.
And coming off of last season, she was kind of always in the mix. It felt like. So maybe this is her weekend to finally say, you know what? Let me put myself out there. Let me get in the mix a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, my initial thought is Silva, and then we pick.
Silva's not there, so I'll make that easy for us.
All right.
I like Missy.
Oh, you said no. Yeah, of course. Yeah, Missy. Yeah.
I think out of that $4 group here, I think you have to go to $4.
Yeah.
I think it's between Holland and Missy, and for a wooded course, I have to give the nudge to Missy here.
Yeah, I like
That's
it.
just
Yeah.
overall. So I think Missy and Own, I like that a lot, and then we just gotta scoop up a $2 one.
Paige. Ride the hot hand.
But
Vilket
it's
det
a
man ser
different
för
course.
sjukt
I
att det
felt
blir.
like I felt good about
I'm feeling what
Paige.
you're feeling. I'm feeling what you're feeling, man.
You know who I like here, kinda? Who actually came off a decent Champions Cup?
Emily.
I would say Annika.
Oh.
7th place at Champions Cup. Also,
I like it. I love that.
Also has had some good.
No, that's it. We did it. No, there's no. Yeah.
Because Haley's not there. I mean, Rebecca Cox could do something.
No, I think you hit the nail on that. I love that.
Okay, let's do that. Let's go. Let's go those 3. We'll lock those 3 in. MPO is gonna be a little bit trickier here. Because I think this is a course, Yuli, that if they haven't changed it all that much, I think it's a course that kind of gets.
Yeah, it is.
I think it's tougher to just like guarantee. I think Gannon will probably most likely still get a top 10, but his like guaranteed top 5, I think it's gonna be a lot tougher on a course like this because more players have the ability to shoot well on a course like this than.
Can I tell you my thoughts right away?
Yeah, give me your initial thoughts here.
Isaac.
I love that.
Niklas.
I love that.
Joey Buckets.
Isaac gives us the 4. Niklas gives us the 4, and the 2 is the bucket man.
I just say that because this place is a woodsy, sharp-shooting shooter.
Okay.
A lot of sidearm birdies at like 350. Like
So-
flat to hyzer.
Like, do you see him? The only thing I would say is like he hasn't gotten us that many points this year. He hasn't.
Who?
Simon.
No, I'm saying. Well,
I know, but I'm saying
oh, you want to pick
he
Simon?
just played really well at MVP. Very similar course, woodsy kind of shots, and he hasn't
Not even
really.
close. Not even close to the same course.
No, it's still like woodsy.
No.
No.
This is okay. I'm gonna describe the course to you, and then you tell me. Don't even look at the board, okay? I'm just gonna describe the course. The hard holes are as straight as you can throw it, and flip it exactly at 340. So it's got to
I love
start.
Isaac and Nicholas. I love Isaac.
So it has to drift at that distance. The gimme holes are all 340-foot flip up sidearm hyzers.
What about Kyle Klein?
Ooh. Well,
What
how
about
much
Kyle
is that guy?
Klein? $2.
No, he's 4. Yeah, he's up there.
Never
at
mind.
$4.
I believe Evan Smith, I thought was Kyle Klein. I think
We could go Gannon and then go up down there and grab Diamond and
no.
no.
I'm nervous about any of the $1.
Yeah.
I feel like Nicholas and Isaac should be a top 10. Should be like
For sure. And that's why
How's your
that's
initial
why
thought? Let's go with it.
I mean then everything's on me.
No. I picked. Wait.
No, I mean on the MPO side.
But I'm 100% with you with Nicholas. Joey Buckets,
Yeah.
I'm okay with. If Simon wins this tournament, I will say "told you so." But
Is Simon here?
I thought I saw him. No, am I crazy?
Shit. I don't know. It might not be right.
Did I not say his name?
I
Yeah,
don't know.
he's there. He's registered. He's registered.
Let's go. You know what? Let's throw a little sass from you in there. And
Okay.
cherry on top.
The only other person I would have picked was Matty O, but
The only person I would pick is I would switch out one of our guys for either Paul or Ricky, because Ricky has won this tournament by 100.
Ricky's really good at this course.
Yeah. But Isaac
Okay,
is just such a
but-
slayer.
But can we get stats? Edwin, Gary, give us stats of
We're going stats.
Isaac. We're going stats of Isaac's next tournament after championship.
He just played master stuff and got
How does it count?
It does count.
You're counting or not?
Because you're playing
What do you
right
do
after
after
and you
that?
got like 7. He was leading after the first round and then got mollywopped by
That's not good.
Gannon
That's not good.
and Nicholas. Oh, let's go. Thanks, buddy.
Guy wants to tell you about your tour
Lazaro,
series draft there.
yeah.
Very nice. Very nice of it. Yeah, Rick won 2 years ago when it was a silver. This guy's just claiming, this guy's just spamming that Austin Turner's going to be winning his first event here.
Here's what I got. I might have, because you said that, what if we just put Ezra Robinson?
So just Nicholas and Isaac and go Ezra Robinson and Ricky.
I don't think we
The
can.
problem is so many people can play good at this course. All right, in 2023, Isaac won Champions Cup, then finished second at Jones. We're picking. He got second at Jones. I'm picking Isaac.
All right.
Stick with your guns. Isaac.
Yeah.
Wait, is Nicholas even there? Did I say
Better be.
Nicholas there?
He won last.
Did I say he was there?
He said no.
He is there. He is there. He is there. He is there.
This would be the one that Paul McBeth.
I know, dude. I freaking know it. All right, we're overthinking. Isaac, Nicholas, Simon. There it is. Isaac, Nicholas, Simon. Simon, give us points for the love of God.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Moment of truth. Bring him in. We've been waiting all week for it. King of the hill. Here we go. Gary, how are we feeling this? How are we feeling this?
Locked in and ready to go.
Okay. There's probably going to be a lot of movement after Champions Cup. So very, very curious to see how it looks this week.
Yeah, there was a ton, and just to preface, now that we're like 3 iterations into Sin, a couple people have asked like how I come up with this. It's not all the stats not all paper. It's just, if we went by the paper and all chalk, that wouldn't get us anywhere. This is a combination of the stats, what the paper tells us, but also a little bit of heart in there, a little bit of eye test. So that's where this comes from. So, Mike, whenever you're ready, you want to pull up the FPO Queen of the Hill. Well, we're going to look at the people who are now officially off the hill. Hate to see it. Macy Vela Diaz, we haven't had enough events. I think it's time for her to sit off the hill until she shows us that she should be back on it. And then Deanne Carey and Madison Walker are officially off the hill, unfortunately.
Off the hill.
Off the hill. Going to the first of tiers. We've got some new ads here. A little bit of green. Emily Weatherman jumps up and joins tier 6. You know, I'm not going to go off too much recency bias with the Champions Cup, but we do have to factor in it's a major. You know, it's a big deal. People got to really, locking in for that event. And Emily Weatherman has slowly been stepping it up. Not too bad of a season, but 12th place there. She gets on the list. And then when we look at Steen here, definitely probably I think the lowest person in the rankings that gets up onto this list. 7th place at Champs Cup. Really good performance there. Some decent performances earlier in the season, but missed out on a couple events. So we'll see how she continues to fare. A few people there who are still there, obviously with Valerie Manahano and them. But Haley King is someone I want to bring up because she's only played 2 events, but both events she's finished 10th place. And so rather than keep her up at a higher tier,
Where's my dog?
I'm dropping her to the lowest tier because she doesn't have an event registered until June. So it's going to be kind of hard to justify keeping her on any tiers higher than this. But I also don't feel like it's fair, essentially, to put someone who averages like 25th place above someone who is the 2 times we've seen them looked pretty solid at 10th place. Yeah. So that's where Haley King finds herself for now. Moving up to tier 5. This was a tough tier, just for a number of reasons. The big standout jump up is Hannah. If I was making a tier, a Queen of the Hill list on impressive interviews on podcasts, she'd be near the top. That was a really, really great interview she had with you guys last week. But she's definitely been locking in, looking at some of her finishes so far this season. Things are looking pretty good. Her last 2 events, 7th place at KCWO and 10th place at the Champs Cup. So hopefully more to see from Hannah. And then you've got your classic standards here with Henna and Katrina, and then Jessica and Rebecca Cox. The toughest ones here were definitely probably Katrina Allen, because if you look at her events so far this season, she's done surprisingly well. She started with her first event in 34th, but then she's rattled off an 8th, 9th, a 28th. I'm sorry, I'm reading the wrong person. An 8th, a 9th, a 16th, and an 8th. That's a pretty good set of finishes for her. And she was the person who was on the bubble of like, I don't know whether she belongs in tier 4 because she was going up against tier 4, Mike. Paige Pierce. So when you look at Paige, which is funny that we're having a classic Paige versus Cat battle on the Queen of the Hill list. If you look at the matchups, I mean, technically, Paige Pierce, her first top 10 finish was at Champs Cup. And so if you look at Katrina Allen's events, the 8th, the 9th, and the 8th, so she has 3 top 10s in the last 4 events. You could argue that she's been playing better, more consistently than Paige Pierce has. However, Paige is, 11th, 15th, 13th. That's still not too terrible. But the 3rd at Champs Cup, to me, they're close enough that I'm going to give the edge to the major here. But I would say the 2 of them, I'm going to be watching their battle closely throughout the year because I find it really interesting that we're back again looking at the 2 of them. And then you've got Kat Merch, who I realized of all the FPO players in the field, only 3 of them have played more than 3 events this season and have not finished outside the top 10. And Kat Merch is one of them. She has been able to... Yeah, her finishes are 4th, 10th, 9th, 8th, 6th, and 9th. So she's playing consistently really well. We're just kind of waiting for her to, get over that hump. And maybe this is the week. Who knows? Maybe she goes out and she takes it down this week. And
I
then
think
you
there's
could-
been a lot of like FPO players this year that have been playing like solid, like you said, like a cat merch,
yes,
but like hasn't ever really been in contention. And so it's very with just how the way coverage is, it's very easy just to kind of have those people under the radar. You just don't see them because they're never really contending to actually win.
for sure. I feel like Own falls a little bit in that category too.
This year for sure.
Yeah, she's had a couple moments, you know, with her third at the Open at Austin, but otherwise, I feel like she's kind of been knocking on that door, but not quite on the dance floor when it comes to the end of the final round. Moving up to tier 3, we've got Ella moving down to this tier, and you got Silva and Evelina, and so Ella's the first person, you know, with an actual win this season, and it's really tough. Wins make this difficult because we value wins very highly. They're important. I think they add a lot of momentum for FPO, and to me, I think there are less people in the FPO field who are going to get a win this year than in the MCO field, so a win feels like a really strong case to be considered like a high-level player. But if you look at Ella compared to who is above her, it feels like this is where she belongs. She's like the top of tier 3, and just needs to get over the hump to get back to tier 2. But the reason she's not in tier 2 is because somebody else has made a jump up to tier 2, which is Missy. When you look at their seasons next to each other, you could argue maybe that Ella's season is probably a little bit better than Missy's, you know, with the first, 4th, 9th, 7th, 3rd, and Ella's first finish outside of the top 10, outside of the top 20, came at the major. And Missy's season is 15th, 4th, 23rd, 5th, and 4th. But I think they're close enough to compare, and to me, the major win is definitely a check above an Elite Series victory. And even with a little bit better finishes overall on average from Ella, I think the major win puts Missy above her. I also think it's no question why Holland Hanley is there. She has not finished outside 5th place all season long. So that podium streak was broken at the Champs Cup. And first is Kristen. I think that, you know, yes, we've seen less events from Kristen. You know, 4 events compared to like 6 events from Holland, but right now it's first, second, or bust for Kristen, and I think arguably she's still the queen of the hill, the best in the world for the
I don't really have too much that I would disagree with here, Yuli. The only thing is maybe like a sideways shift versus a vertical one. I would probably move Silva to the left and have Ella be more. I think Silva's the next one to potentially move up. You know, what would she have to do to take Missy's spot? She probably definitely needs to win one, and maybe even like contend for another one, because again, Missy does have that major. But I think even though Ella does have a win and Silva doesn't, that win was so early on, you know, recency bias. I don't know. What do you think, Yuli?
You know, this is tough because if I was doing my own hill, my eye test, my way of doing it would be a little different. I see what you're doing here, and I think over an extended period of time, top 10 will net you better play than somebody who gets a win. So it's really, you're in a tough spot of having to judge. Like, oh, you get a win, but then this person's, you know, got 7th place every tournament, and you're jumping around from 20th to 15th to 2nd to whatever. And so that's tough. I think the number one thing that I would do is I would switch Jessica and Haley King. Just because even though we have a small sample size, Haley King, once she plays, she's a top 10 player, which means she deserves to be up in that top 10 spot until other people can take her out from top 10 finishes, if that makes sense. And then obviously a couple people might even push her off the hill, but that would be the one thing there. And then I think you did a good job of explaining the Paige Katrina battle right there. I think Katrina's really close to popping up there and maybe even taking Candace's spot if she continues with the impressive, you know, top 10 play. And then as you move up the leaderboard to me, Missy, it looks pretty good, honestly, because because Missy moves up, I think she's going to be a staple in that top 3 spot until somebody gets a few wins. You know what I mean? And over the amount of time Ella's win, it'll hold off. I don't think she's coming off this mountain ever this entire season, but you can't have a top 20 without moving down. I respect that. So it looks good other than that.
Cool. One comment I will make is that the left to right orientation means nothing in terms of like the rank they are in that tier.
Oh,
It's
okay.
just those are I just give Mike the names and he puts them in there based upon what's there. So
I didn't know if that was like if Ella was like the next one to
No.
move up. Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense then.
So any, I was gonna say I think that's good for that. So let's hop on over to the King of the Hill. This I tell you what, MPO is so hard.
Gavin Rathbun, no.
It's so hard because there's such like compression and you almost have to just at the end of the day you're gonna find a lot of places here where it's the whole concept of no wins really great finishes versus wins and not so great other finishes. It's tough, but yeah, off the hill here, unfortunately Matteo, Bradley Williams, Paul Kranz, and Gavin Rathbun, and the bottom tier of the King of the Hill is just so, in my opinion, volatile.
Murder's Row.
Yeah, it's tough, but we see some new names here based on some performances. We got Chris Dickerson falling down, and that's only really because of the strength of tier 5 above him. Right now, I just don't see him. He's a fantastic player, and he's putting down solid performances. Let me just pull up his list of finishes here. So, Chris Dickerson, we're looking at 11th, 30th, 14th, 20th, 6th, and 28th. I wouldn't call that a season like we're typically used to seeing from Dickerson. You know, as we get more into the woods, I'm sure he'll clean that up and give us more of what we typically see. So I'm expecting to climb back up. Simon remains where he's at. I mean, he's Simon, and I know that I got a lot of people who are reaching out and giving me credit for having him on tier 5 or tier 6. Simon could literally be on any tier any week, and you never know what you're going to get out of him because he could win at any given time. But we saw a good finish at 14th at Champs Cup. I think I want to see one more decent finish before he moves back up in terms of like technically where he exists on this list. But Eagle, first time attendee to the King of the Hill list. He's, you know, had some rough patches, but you know, a 9th and a 13th in the last 2 events. I think he's starting to look better on the course. I'm really excited to see what he can do. Yes, and Immonen. I have him up here because if you look at the rest of the field and you look at the finishes that like we're talking about here with a lot of these players and the skills we're putting down, his last 3 events are 13th, 16th, and 14th. He's starting to string together these like, you know, right around that 15 finishing position above a lot of good players in different events. I think maybe he's powered by the snub that he got for not being on the President's Cup team because he's doing really well, and I want to make sure to call that out because if you look at the players who kind of fell off the list, yes, he's definitely playing better than them. And then Casey White jumps himself onto the list with similar kind of thing, solid finishes recently with a 13th, 19th, and 12th being a pretty good finish at Champs Cup. If we remember, last year he also surged at Champs Cup. At one point, he was the outright leader, I think. Was it after round 2? So, yeah, definitely a good performance from him. So moving up to tier 5. No real change here except for Marweed is moving up and getting into position. He's probably the most contentious spot here because when you look at his season, it is tricky of where you would want to place someone like Marweed. So if we look at his finishes,
Well, I think just from his Champs Cup, I think you got to move him up.
Yeah, so that's kind of because he's literally doing a up down. I mean, it's 59th place, 5th place, 34th place, 5th place, 63rd place, 3rd place, and so that's so volatile. Like I don't know where to put someone like that, but I feel like it feels like he belongs more on tier 6, but the major performance is what has him here in tier 5 with 4 other players who have not moved since last week. I think their performances were really solid. I think that Sully is definitely primed to maybe move up. It's just the ceiling above him to get into tier 4 I think is still too tough to break through. Speaking of tier 4, let's pull them up. You'll notice that the one drop off we have here is Adam Hammis. You know, he had a really rough event at Kansas City. He tied for 5th at Champs Cup. So still collectively his season's been pretty solid, but if you compare it to the guys that are also on this tier with him, you know, they have seasons that are equally as solid. They just don't have the win to back it up. And I would say that, you know, Ezra had a great start. Well, Ezra has the win, but he has kind of fallen off the last few events. His recent finishes have not kind of been, you know, finished 24th and then 39th at Champs Cup. I would have expected a much better performance from him at the major. So hopefully we can kind of get that out of the way a little bit. But this is where it gets really tricky. And I'm curious what your thoughts are when I hit tier 3. We got Paul Macbeth, Calvin Heimberg, and Nicholas Antela. So this is the perfect example of what I mean of somebody who has not really won this season versus somebody who has won, but the rest of their performances have not been great. So when you look at Calvin hasn't obviously won at all this year, but we're looking at 5th, 10th, 13th, 6th, and 8th. And I feel like Calvin almost has permanent residency on like the tier 3, tier 4 because he's not winning this year, but he's always kind of there. Now, is it because he has these Hail Mary rounds that get him up to these places? For sure. Paul is in that similar boat of like, you know, 3rd, 11th, 7th, 4th, 3rd, 20th. Now the question is, if Macbeth decided to play for par on the last 2 holes of the rounds he knew he wasn't going to win, he'd probably have an average finishing position 2 or 3 spots higher. But it's kind of there too. Nicholas is the toughest one because you're looking at 2 wins. And how could you make an argument that anyone with not 2 wins belongs below Nicholas? It's just the rest. Like, we're looking at 45th, 19th, and 21st, and 2 wins. So, where do you value wins compared to performance overall and wins put together? So let's go to tier 2, and that's you got AB and Isaac. And so this is kind of what I'm talking about. If obviously everyone's going to want 2 wins, that's a pretty big deal. But if you look at Isaac's season, you know, since the Open at Austin, he finished 10th there. He finished 5th at MCO, 6th at KC Wide Open, and 1st at the major. He's starting to really heat up and turn into the Isaac that we're used to seeing. And is his major win more important in your eyes than 2 wins?
The AB one is the tougher one, I think. I can see Isaac above Nicholas. AB above Nicholas here might be tough.
Yeah, that's arguably that is a tough one. You got his AB's strong performance to start the season. He only has 1 finish. At Music City Open, he was finished 20th, but he is 2nd at the major. So like he feels like another guy that doesn't have a win yet, but is also performing really well. So that's a tough one. Those 3 I thought about way too long, and I feel like you could definitely interchange the 3 of them. But the obvious answer for top of the King of the Hill list is he's back, baby. He's back. We saw the video. We know what he's going for, and it's clear. It's perfect. Brody Smith is back, King of the Hill. You know.
Why is my head so small compared to everyone else's?
It's all that way you lost, man. And then you got so in all reality, you've got Gannon at the very top of this list, and this is Gannon has a win. It's not a major win, but I would say still, when you look at the body of work for the rest of the season and you compare him side by side with AB, Isaac, or Antela, I'm still taking Gannon if I had to pick one at an event, until Gannon proves me otherwise.
Yuli, how are we feeling?
Better than last week. I feel better than last week, other than the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my life. This AB's my boy. He doesn't have freaking 2 wins.
So you're
like,
telling
what
me?
Are we doing? What are you doing? What are we doing? What are we doing here?
Yeah, but look at the record here.
I don't care what. How hard? Let me ask you this: how hard is it to win on the Pro Tour?
Pretty hard.
Okay, how many wins does AB have total on the Pro Tour? He has 4. I'll answer it. He has 4. In this season, how many tournaments have we played? Nicholas has 2. AB has 0.
Yep.
And we're gonna put him above him.
So you tell me going into this week's event, if you absolutely had to bet on one of them to play better, or let's say for the rest of the next, I think one event's probably not a good case study. Look at the next 3 events. Would you take?
No. You can't try to manipulate me like that. We're talking about the body of work now.
Yeah, we're talking
And
about
who's
where they
on
exist
there
right
now.
Yeah, I would
There's
say
one
anyone-
who's won twice, and there's one who has an argument to be number 1 on the list.
To be fair, Yuli, we did take Nicholas over AB in our picks.
For sure.
I will
But
throw that out there.
But that's in the future. That's a future
That
prediction.
is a future prediction. Future prediction.
As of right now, the only person who would even have an argument, well, there's 2 people now that have an argument to be King of the Hill over Ganon is Nicholas and Isaac. If you ever put AB on the top of the list, that would be the craziest thing ever, am I right? At least you would have an argument.
Yeah.
At least you would have an argument with the other 2.
Yep. To me,
So-
the way this works is if you're asking me right now, I've got to put 2 of these guys on the course. I'm picking Ganon over in a one-on-one or essentially a comparison over a field over everyone below him. AB, I'm picking him over Macbeth, Calvin, Antela on average.
Yeah, but you're talking in the future. I'm talking about what is actually conspired to make the hill today.
Yep.
And this is what you got. You're
Yep.
saying a second place finish trumps
Mm-hmm.
2 back-to-back wins. How many
I'm
times has anybody ever gone back-to-back? First of
I'm
all,
saying
on the
that-
tour ever.
I'm saying that you take picks each week, even if you go backwards. Most people are probably picking AB at Champs Cup over Nicholas.
No, not if you
every
know
single
he's gonna
time.
win.
How do you know he's gonna win?
Like this is what we know though. We're talking about what we actually know, the places that they actually got to get them on your
This-
actual hill.
This is their
And
skill
one's
level
won
right now.
twice,
Yep.
and one has won zippity doo dah day. In an era where it's harder to get a win than ever before.
I tried to tell
And
you
he's got
that
back to back.
was gonna be a point of contention here. I kind of saw that coming.
Yeah. See, and the best part is, I see you, chat. I see you what you're doing over there. I know what you're saying. And let me tell you something right now. Matt. I'll tell you, Matt. We're gonna figure it out this year to how to make a tour life audience.
Yes.
The King of the Hill list, and we're gonna see just how well you do up against Yuli and his expectations.
My expectations, dude. This is the craziest thing I've ever seen ever. Dude, what are you talking about?
You said
The
this
guys-
was better than last week, though. You did
Yes,
say this
better
was
last
better than
week.
last week. So we
Oh,
are
no,
we're
leading no.
improving.
Well, the lower tiers, because finally you have Marweed at a respectable spot. After I tell you, like, what are you doing, knocking him off of the whole entire thing, and then all of a sudden, guess what happens?
Yeah, because I hear what you're saying, but Marwy does have a 59th,
No, just I'm
34th,
asking.
and a 63rd.
If you
this
want to
season.
call me before you make the list,
Well, what's the fun in that? we need the natural reaction.
and then you know what's. Yeah, I mean this is.
Mm-hmm.
Then you drop Adam down the tier or whatever after Macbeth absolutely has a bombshell of a final round, dropping him to 20th place, and then you look at Adam's season, has 1 bad finish, and then gets a 5th place, and you drop him all the way
but
down
Paul-
again.
You
Paul-
telling me you're
Paul-
taking Paul over Adam?
Paul's been like a
Paul?
consistent top 5 guy, though.
Yeah.
Paul has been having an insane season.
Oh, for sure.
I think if you're gonna drop
name
anyone,
the positions. No, name the positions.
I think
don't
you gotta
think
drop
this is going to be
Calvin.
the
I think
argument
you-
that you think.
I think you gotta drop
Oh.
Calvin for Adam.
So okay, so here I'll do that for you. So at Supreme Flight Open, you've got
Mhm.
Paul 3rd, Adam 9th.
Okay.
Waco. Obviously, Paul finishes 11th. Adam finishes first. You
Not
could
even
argue-
a top 10. Okay, bummer.
You
That
could
sucks.
argue that
All
he
right,
literally
keep going.
just. Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
The Open at Austin, Paul 7th, Adam 6th.
Oh no, he's just waxing this dude. Oh, that's
Yeah.
weird. Keep going. No, keep going.
Music City Open, Paul Macbeth 4th, Adam Hammis 10th.
Okay. Yeah. Finally got him. Finally snuck it out.
That's
All
the second
what do we
time.
got
That's the second time he got him. And then when you go to Kansas City Wide Open, Adam was caught sleeping at 83rd, while Paul got 3rd.
That's tough.
And then what happened?
That's a tough
Was
one.
Adam actually sleeping? What happened there?
Yeah.
No. Then
Yeah.
what happens at the next one?
Yep, you're right. 20th place for Paul to 5th for Adam.
At the most important one of the season.
It's a coin flip, in my opinion.
Hey, man.
Coin flip it.
Maybe.
Coin flip
Maybe.
it.
Hey, it's my job to pick apart this list, and that's exactly what I'm doing. And,
Hey,
and you bring
I
up a
appreciate
good
it.
point. What's Calvin even doing up there? What did he do to knock Adam off? What did he do?
I think he just hasn't played bad. He hasn't played insanely good yet, but he hasn't played bad.
How many top 10s does he have?
1, 2,
Or
3, 4, including me.
Out of?
6.
oh, here we go. PGA Mike coming
Uh-oh,
in. What you got,
Oh,
bro?
here we go.
I gotta hop in here. I actually love this list, except I need Hammis and Calvin to switch. Calvin hasn't had a top 3. They both have the same top 10s. Adams beat him 4 out of 6 events. So this whole Macbeth versus Hammis thing shouldn't even be a thing for Calvin. But I don't have an issue with Antela going down. I think you have to look at this, like we said, it's not just what's happened in the season. As they say, these things are a rich tapestry. You have to look past the year. You got to look at the big picture. You got to look at who you're confident with. I mean, maybe Anta's a little bit of a pumpkin mode here, winning 2 events and then just not winning again for the rest of the year. Not even having
Hey,
a
man,
chance
I was
to
the
win
guy.
rest of
I
the year.
said he took a week off. Dumb move.
This is the
So-
most I'm ever going to agree with the PDGA.
So I think list looks pretty good. I'd love to have Isaac win again and get some talk here. Try to move somebody off, getting off the top of that list. Or Brody could just win his first event.
I mean,
Just be
AB
on
might
top
get
of the room.
second and be a king of the hill. This is just the king. I don't know.
I don't think you can be at the top without a win. I don't think that's possible.
Yuli, have you ever heard of the painting pointillism?
No.
So I think what's happening here is I think you're at the museum and you are standing a few inches away from the painting and you just see all the dots and
Preach.
you're like these are just colored dots. What am I looking at? And Gary's like, Yuli, step back. And you take a few steps back and you see the masterpiece of all the beautiful little dots put together into a beautiful painting. I think that's what's happening.
It's possible. It's possible.
Listen,
But I
listen,
can't wait for next
I'm
week.
looking
Can't
at
wait for
this
next
thing.
week.
I'm close. I could put it far away. Either way you look at it, no. Sorry.
So we are going to bring this back next week. Should be good. See what happens. And we have a new segment we're going to try out this week. I don't know if we're actually going to do this more than once, but we got one. So Yuli, what I had the boys whip up for us is an overrated versus underrated list.
Oh,
so
okay.
they're going to basically say something, and me and you have to right away say whether it's overrated or underrated. And
So
we're
like
gonna give our
Gary's
opinion.
King of the Hill. Overrated.
Yes, that's a
No,
perfect.
yeah, you know what, Gary? I appreciate you putting it together. It's one of my favorite things. I love just, hey man, I'm a debater, man. I like getting in there. and just
100%.
taking it apart.
If we're not talking about it, we're not doing it right.
Yeah.
All right, you
All
want
right,
me to
what do we
start this
got?
list? All right, so let's see. We got a bunch here. First one: multiple basket locations during an event. Overrated, underrated, or properly rated.
Underrated.
Underrated.
Let's see. PDGA dress code.
Overrated.
Don't really know if that's a thing. Is that like? Are we talking about like? I don't know how to answer that one, Yuli.
I think. Well, I mean, like, what is their dress code? It's collared shirt or a performance, and then you have to at least wear shoes. I
Yeah.
think so. I don't know. Is me saying it should be stricter?
Yeah, that's what I don't know.
Is
I don't-
that overrated, or would that be underrated?
like? I think we need to stop
Be
looking like.
overrated.
I think we need
Yeah.
to stop looking like golfers in the woods.
Yeah, I think it's
that would be.
over.
I think that would, but see, that's like dressing
Yeah,
above.
I don't know.
The
I don't know.
dress
That's a
code.
tough one. You're right.
I don't know. That is a weird one.
All right, overhand shots.
Overrated.
Overrated.
The 5-minute rule.
Overrated.
I don't even know what that is.
Minus
Stroke,
42
yeah,
times.
you're gonna get stroked. The next tournament, you're gonna get to
underrated.
USDGC.
Underrated.
You're gonna get to USD.
Underrated.
You're gonna get to USDGC, and that was 7 on your
Show
first
up
hole,
on
bro.
time. Show up on time. You're a professional. Be a professional. I'm going underrated.
All right, having a disc golf coach.
Underrated.
I gotta go overrated because I think the majority out there are trash.
Maple Hill.
Rightfully rated.
I think it's pretty solid rated. Hole 1, Maple Hill, overrated. Just the most overrated hole of all time that there's ever been.
Caddies.
Underrated.
Underrated.
Light charts.
Overrated.
I don't even know what it is.
Like the charts that show you.
No,
how-
yeah.
Overrated.
Well, it might be underrated because I need to look at one of those.
Rangefinders.
Underrated.
Under.
Just go watch my video where I literally, there's this one hole Yuli where I'm like, I'm just gonna throw a passion. I'll probably land up by that big tree and have like a nice little chip shot. I threw it into the woods that was like behind the big tree, like 20